Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long day. It was busy but awesome at work, but I thought I would just film a quick video, or not so quick, we'll see how long these book talks take, about my books for the end of the year. I saw Ariel Bisset post her end of the year book tag that she created, and so I thought I would just throw together a quick one for you. I apologize if you can hear my dog chewing on a rawhide in the back. He thinks he needs to do that while he's in the room with me. Whatever, he's happy, he's quiet, and he's occupied. So, sorry in advance if you can hear that. The first question is, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? I am the queen of unfinished books. I start one, and then I get sidetracked. It's kind of like a squirrel moment where I want to start a new one, and so I stop and I can't get caught up, or I have too many going at one time. So yeah, I have 5 right now that I'm in the middle of that I thought I would share with you. The first one is Ghost Soldiers by Hampton Sides. Its subtitle is An Epic Account of World War II's Greatest Rescue Mission. It is my boyfriend's absolute favorite book. He's been telling me I need to read this for, almost 4 years now. So I need to get into it more. I'm on page 40. I like World War II stories. Nonfiction isn't usually my realm, so I think that's kind of where I'm stuck. It's not a quick read like I would like it to be. The other adult novel that I have is Before We Were Yours, and I'm halfway through this. My mom and I started reading it out loud together on our way to Southeast Kansas to see family, and so she's finished it, but I have not. It goes back and forth between 1939 and present day, and it's based on true events where children of poverty were stolen from their families and taken to the Tennessee Children's Home Society orphanage and then sold to rich people. So it's the story of a particular family of children, how they're taken into the orphanage, split up, abused, and that kind of stuff. And it kind of goes back and forth with the lady trying to piece together, I believe it's her grandma's story. So it's great so far. I just need to finish the rest of it. The next one I have is a YA novel that I originally picked up because the cover looked really intriguing. It's another one that goes back and forth between time periods. I think it's like 1921-ish to present day. And it starts off with a body being found at this teenager's house and kind of goes back in time to Jim Crow era and the Tulsa race riots. And so I'm assuming that somehow the two stories are going to be connected by the end of it. The other one I'm still working on is Orphan Island. I talked about this in a previous video, and it's one of our Mock Newbery books for this year. But basically, it's kind of a dystopia similar to Maze Runner, where there's 9 kids on an island by themselves. Each year, a younger kid is brought in, and the older one is taken away, and they have no idea where that child goes. I'm interested to find out how this ends. It's kind of been slower than I anticipated, so I think that's why I've kind of been caught up with not finishing it. This next one is by one of my all-time favorite children's authors, Alan Gratz. This is called Refugee, and it tells the story of 3 different kids fleeing from their country. So you have a kid in Nazi Germany, you have a kid from Cuba in the 1990s, and then you have a kid in Syria in 2015. And it alternates every chapter between the 3 characters, so you really have to kind of be on point to know what's going on with each one. But it's a great read. I'm kind of one of those, like, you don't want to finish it because you know it's just going to be heartbreaking throughout the course of the story, but I am about halfway through it, so I have to finish it. The next question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So kind of like an autumn theme book. I think that's kind of how I understood it. And I couldn't really think of anything, so I just grabbed Meddling Kids. Once again, it was one of my book haul books. It's kind of like the Scooby-Doo characters growing up, so I kind of connect that with Halloween. So yeah, I guess this is my autumnal book. The next question is there a new release that you're still waiting for? I have been working on our book orders for the year for school, and so I have book release dates coming out my ears in terms of children's books. The one that I can think of right off the bat would be Wish Tree by Catherine Applegate. It's just kind of like the viewpoint of the tree and how people tie their wishes to the tree. It is part of our Mock Newbery, even though I haven't read it yet. It's been highly recommended, so I'm excited for that. And there are other ones along the way, like a new picture book called After All from Dan Santat, maybe I think is how you say it. Also, there's a new Princess in Black book, a new I Survived just released. So there's a ton in the realm of children's books, but I'm not quite as up to date with my favorite adult authors. The next question is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? There's many more than 3, I'll just say that much, so I try to narrow it down into kind of a couple different groups. So here's what I got for you. The first one is, of course, Tess Garrison's I Know His Secret. This is the new Rizzolian Isles. I have read every single one of this series. It's one of my absolute favorite series, starting with The Surgeon. And it's kind of one of those that it's not as good as the first books, but they're still pretty good. And so I just know that I want to get through this because I've recently purchased it and I'm so excited for it. The next one is a nonfiction called Irina's Children. It's about a woman that rescued over 2,000 children from Nazi Germany, and I believe she ended up taking them to new families. She hid their real names in a jar underneath a tree so that after the war was over, they could connect them back with their original families. I believe this might be made into a movie soon, I'm not sure, but this is on my list of books for the Modern Mrs. Darcy Challenge, which I do every year. And I need to get caught up on because I still have 13 left for this year. But this is one of the ones on there, and I need to get to it. And the last one for this category is going to be Mare's War. Once again, this was a recent book haul choice, and I just like the fact that it kind of goes and tells the story of an elderly woman and her responsibilities as a Black woman in the Women's Army Corps during World War II. And I believe it kind of goes back in time, back and forth, between the conversations with her granddaughters and herself. Love books like that, love World War II, so I know it's going to be a great read. The second to last question is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Well, I'm going to kind of cheat with this and add this to my list of things I want to read by the end of the year, but I picked up The Orphan's Tale a long time ago when it first came out, and I know it will end up being a quick favorite of mine. It's once again set in World War II. It's about an orphan train type situation where dozens of Jewish infants are found in a boxcar that are bound for a concentration camp, and this lady helps them escape, I believe. And then it also kind of has to do with the German circus, and then there's a pregnant teenager who is forced to give up her baby. So it just sounds kind of a lot like some of my favorite books that I can think of, that it's all wrapped into one. And so I think this will be a quick favorite if I ever get to it. And the last question is, have you already started making reading plans for 2018? Of course, because I'm a little crazy when it comes to books. Each year I set a goal of reading 100 books, and I chart it in this little graphic organizer that I made. And I'll link that down below. You can get it for free if you want. But I read 100 books. I chart it on Goodreads. That's kind of my goal, is to read 100 chapter books or graphic novels type of thing. I don't count picture books, but that is my big thing. I also do a Modern Mrs. Darcy challenge this year, and this year I attempted to do 2. I was on a roll, and I got a whole bunch done at the beginning of the year with like 9, and then I've kind of slacked off on it. There are 24 total, so I have some work to do on this as well, but I know I will do another one next year. The other thing that I'm going to do for my goal for 2018 will be to first dissect what I read in 2017 that's listed on Goodreads and look to see how diverse my selections were. So what books were written by a white author, what books were written by an Hispanic author, a Black author, male, female, that kind of thing, and maybe even look a little bit at the characters within it as well, and kind of see if I'm reading equal amounts. So I want to see what I'm doing like organically this year, and then make a goal of next year to read the equal amount of diverse books from each one of those sections. That is all I have to share for the end of the year book tag. Please tell me what you're wanting to read for the end of the year down below, and any goals you are already setting for next year. I would love to hear them. I'm sure at the end of the year I will post an update video and how all of this went. Fingers crossed I'm able to pull it off. But let's get real, it's going to be difficult if at all possible. So whatever, I'll just read what I can and be happy with it, but it's definitely nice to have some goals. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I hope that you heard some books that you may be interested in, and if you do read them, please let me know. I would love to talk about them with you. I hope you have a great evening or day whenever I post this. I don't even know, but I will see you next time. Bye, guys.